You, Jordan, and good morning, good afternoon, everyone. It's Monday again. It's a new week. The world is still crazy and we are still learning. So everything is okay, I guess, at this moment. Um, we are entering is this our fifth week of learning together? Yes. Um, and I'm just reminding us what I remind every time we meet that we wanted to meet in these Monday mornings, West Coast time, beginning of the week everywhere, to get some grounding and to get a little bit of sense of calm and centering before we're entering the week. And in this transition from the weekend into the work life time. And we did it between Purim and Pesach with Yemima's teachings, and we're doing it between Pesach and Shavuot in this time called Omer by learning a language, immersing ourselves in language. And I hope everybody starts feeling how the immersion is like starting to become a little more clear. Because there's something about language, I think, that you throw yourself in the beginning, and then slowly things become a little clearer, and you're like, oh, I know that word. Okay, um, I know. Oh, that's cat. Okay. I can understand that one. And so slowly we're catching more, and a language also is always a network. So we can learn one word, that's great, but it makes sense only in relation to other words, right? Um, so what we're trying to do is to give ourselves a language, and as we said in the beginning, language and words allow us to express ourselves better, to understand ourselves better, and therefore it gives us more grounding because we are held in a bigger network of meaning. We have more words to say what we need. And I think we mentioned that really in the beginning that studies show that like people that have more language are also more emotionally regulated, that have more emotional language. So what we're doing is we're really kind of like reclaiming our ancient language, our people's ancient language, the language of the Sfirot, the language of mysticism, right? That tells us about creativity, about how the world is created, but how everything is created all the time, including our experience every day. Because the Sfirot is really part of an assumption that the divine energy is flowing into the world all the time, and that's what makes us alive, and that's what makes everything alive all the time. The question is just how does this energy that is so thin and ethereal becomes reality, raw materiality? And this is what we're trying to kind of like touch and learn. And this is, of course, creation is a very experiential thing, very um, embodied and felt thing. So it's not just like something that we can explain in a way, just in a cerebral way. So we're trying to also just feel this field here, and our way of getting into this field is through color. So we're learning the ancient tradition of color that is connected to these sfirot. And I want to say something, sorry, about this energy. I'm assuming that there are a lot of people here who read the book Running with Wolves. I hope that's the name in English, רצות עם זאבים. It's a book probably from the 80s, 90s, I don't know, that was written about the wild woman archetype. And it's a very beautiful book. I love it. I go back to it every once in a while. But what she's doing there is she's bringing all kinds of stories that people have been telling for many, many years, and she's giving these stories back to people, um, as like a way for us to connect to an archetype. And what is an archetype? An archetype is like this kind of like really um, deep symbol that we all understand intuitively, but she's giving these stories as a way to access it, to access this symbol, this thing that can give me meaning and direction. And so she's really just telling, this whole book is just about like what the wild woman is. האישה הפראית בעברית. And one thing that she mentions there in the part about the flowing water of creativity is really just to remember, because sometimes we forget that there is all the time creative energy flowing in the world. There is all the time creative energy flowing in me. And there are a lot of stories in the world, in all kinds of cultures, about like what happens when these waters are getting polluted. What happens when I don't have access to my creative waters? What happens when I don't have access to this energy? In a way, each one of these sfirot, each one of these words that we're learning every week is one point of access to that energy and one way to clean the water, to clean the river of energy that comes through us. To clean it doesn't mean that we're doing so much. I mean, the energy keeps coming, but to clean it in a way that we're more able to lead it, right? Water is so strong, but we're just basically building the beds of the river. We already said the sides of the river, right? We're building that thing that can allow the energy to move. And the moment the energy, thank you, Banks, the moment the energy can flow more, things clear up and clean up. So I'm just saying that just as a reminder to myself, as a reminder to everyone that the energy is flowing. The divine energy is there, is going, is available. And our work with the Sfirot, what we're trying to understand is really how in our life, in our very private life, with ourselves, me with Naama, and each one of you with yourselves, are making sure that we're all the time able to do that flexible and strong work of tuning and retuning the water, the energy, the divine energy that goes through us, that is revealed through us, through our life, and create more grounding and warmth to ourselves, and then to our beloved ones, and then ripples more and more and more. So the words that we learned already are keter, right? This intuition, the will to have a will, the white, that place of opening, not knowing, no words, just like feeling connected. We learned the word chokhmah, wisdom, the spark of idea. Whoa, okay, wow, something new is coming. Bina, the ability to be with it, the green, right? So to take the white, the brightness into the green of the womb, to let it grow, to let it articulate, to let it renew, to let it find its shape, to go into that Bina, which we call the palace, the womb, the place where things can be held. We then went to Chesed, right? The Chesed is a place of like just generosity and giving and just openness, no boundaries. The light blue, light white, still like right all the time. And the right side, we're in the whites. The love, right? And then the ability to say yes to the world, right? And then we move to Gevura, the red, no, to say no, to be intimate, to say this is yes, this is no, this is for my life, this is not for my life. This is right, this is wrong for me. Last week we spoke about Tiferet, the place where the two rivers from the sides are connecting again, right? They started connected in Keter, they went into Chokhmat in the right, Bina in the left. Chesed in the right, Gevurah in the left. And now they're connecting again in Tiferet, right? And we said it could be purple, it could be pink, it could be yellow, it could be green. It's a place of compassion, place of rest, place of being willing to be with the reality as it is, the place of glory, beauty, joy. And today we're going to speak about, again, two sides. We're going to go from Tiferet again to the right and to the left, and we're going to speak about Netzach and Hod. So to enter our space and to learn these words, let's just take a moment to just take a minute or two to journal as we always enter into our sacred space. So what's moving in me? What's going on for me today? What do I need to leave in the threshold? What experience is very present for me and I want to bring it in to see it through the lens of the Sfirot? So I'm repeating the questions, just like we'll take a minute or two. I'm going to call us back just to journal. What's moving in me? What's going on for me? To this check in with yourself for just a sec. What's going on for me? What's happening in my mind? What's happening in my heart? What do I need to leave in the threshold? What do I want to actually take and examine through the lens of the Sfirot? And let's get back together in about a minute. I'll call us back. Okay, so let's take a few more seconds. Okay, so what are Hod and Netzach? Netzach and Hod. Netzach and Hod, I'll start with the colors because I think it's really helpful for these ones. Netzach means eternity. That's the most direct translation. Netzach, the Kabbalists say, is more white than red. Okay, imagine it however you imagine it. More white than red. So if we're thinking about the two kind of like, right, the two sides of the Sfirot has three lines. The right side, the masculine principle, the left side, the feminine principle. So the right side is always more expansion. The left side is always more boundaried. And then the center line with balanced Sfirot. So Netzach is on the right side, on the masculine principle. They're saying it's more white than red. Hod, they're saying, is more red than white. So it's not the first time that we're meeting two words that are so interdependent, right? We're meeting two words that make sense when they're in relation to each other. So I think we met it also with Chesed and Gvura. There was like this kind of like movement between saying yes and saying no. No boundaries, yes boundaries. Now we're going into another set of these kind of like the ability to be flexible inside, right? And move between right and left. Move between that principle and that principle. And let's describe a little bit, what does it mean to have more white than red? What does it mean to have more red than white? So remember that we said that each of the sfirot also is connected to an organ. So Chesed was the right arm, and Gevurah was the left arm, and Tiferet was the torso, and Netzach and Hod are the right leg, Netzach, and the left leg, Hod. And they're also connected to patriarchs. So Netzach is connected to Moshe Rabbeinu, and Hod is connected to Aharon, the priest. So you're already getting a lot of hints about what these qualities are, right? Netzach is a place of eternity, a place of Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu, one of the things that really describe him is he is persistent. This person is going to lead the people of Israel for over 40 years. He's doing one step after the other. He never stops. Even when he wants to stop, even when he says to God, that's it, I don't want to do this anymore. I quit. God is like, you can't quit. Netzach is like, you can't quit. You're doing it. You are doing this. You're going to take another step and another step and another step. This is like walking to eternity. There's a lot of power there. This is a place where we're strengthening our inner masculine principle, which is that place that says we're strong and we're active and we're going to take it one step after the other and we're going to get there. Netzach can also mean in Hebrew to win, victory. And we are allowed to have this quality in us. Sometimes we just want to win it. We want to have victory. We're willing to make everything that is needed to get there. That is Netzach. Netzach is also, can mean in Hebrew, a conductor of a symphony. So we're also willing to harmonize everything. What does it mean to harmonize? I'm reminding us from last week. Harmonizing is not that everything is like perfectly beautiful. Harmonizing is that I'm willing to like, this is a little higher, I'm getting it a little lower. This is a little lower, I'm getting this a little higher. To kind of like to do the balancing work of Tiferet, but to take it really consistently all the time forward. Yemima actually has a very beautiful teaching about it. She says, Retzef ba'aliyah. She says, when you're building your inner strength, it's really important. She brings this metaphor from women's work. She's saying to make another stitch and another stitch and another stitch. Small stitches, but constant. You're making another one. and another one. You're turning towards yourself, you're getting close to yourself, another one, another time. You're doing another step. You're being like, it's the right leg. Netzach is the right leg. You're being kind of like almost, these people who are so consistent that they're annoying, right? It's like they are on task. We're on task. Netzach is to be on task because we are coordinating everything to get the task done, to get the goal that we want. This is Netzach. It's a really important quality. And this is more white than red, right? It's more kind of like willing to expand ourselves, willing to move, willing to do, willing to plan and go. Sometimes we can get too stuck in Netzach, and this is why we cannot walk with one leg. We have to walk with two legs. It's a balancing act. And the left leg is Hod. So if Moshe Rabbeinu is the right leg is a place of more kind of like, I would even say like cerebral knowledge, right? It's the Torah, another verse and another verse and another verse and another verse. It makes sense because there's another component and another component that you add and you add and you add and you add. Hod is the priest. The priest is a very different way of being. Think about it as Torah and prayer, right? Torah, you have to know more information to know Torah. You have to learn more verses. You have to, in a way, be learned, right? You have to walk the road. Sorry. Hod, for davening, for prayer, it's very holistic experience. It's not made of many components. The intention is there, then you're there. It's kind of like you can just drop in. You don't need to know things ahead of time. You can be 3 years old and have like the most amazing davening, right? These are all the stories of the Hasidim. So there's Hod, you can already feel is a very different quality. Hod is the place where I'm walking with my right leg, and then I'm resting on my left leg. Hod is the place that contains all these components, and we can call Hod deep listening. Hod can mean many things in Hebrew. One thing it can mean is it can mean acknowledging. Hod is to say, oh, I'm letting go for 1 second from like the planning, and I'm just seeing what's here. Hod can mean gratitude. Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for what was done, even though I'm not in the end of it yet. Hod can mean head, echo. So just really deep listening to where I'm at. Do I need nourishing for a second? Do I need to sit for a second? Do I need like a good conversation with someone? Because I'm like on all the time. Do I need to go into Hod is sometimes described as a cave with a string in the middle of it that makes like this very clear sound. Do I need that for a sec? Do I need not to hear all the sounds and coordinate them, but just to hear one quiet sound? So I think we can hear that there's like a very big difference and kind of like a balancing act between Netzach and Hod. And I happened to buy these peonies before Shabbat, and they weren't open, but now they're open, and look how beautiful. I mean, just peonies are just like so incredibly beautiful. Like some of them are like have more white in them, and some of them have more red. So I felt like this was so appropriate for Netzach and Hod. But I'm just inviting us like to think, where do I need in my life a reminder to move on that axis of Netzach Nehod? To remind myself that I have the Moshe principle and the Aharon principle inside me, and that I can move between these. This is the question, I think, for Netzach and Hod. So I want to just show you the cards for a second, and then I'm gonna ask you to share in the chat a little bit. 1 second. Where did they put it? Okay. Great. Okay. So you can see here Netzach. So we mentioned already victory, coordination, perseverance, eternity, commitment. All these things are Netzach. It's kind of like this movement forward. And then we have Hod, which can mean splendor and gratitude and acknowledgement and echo, deep listening. And you can see that like the location, right, on this ellipse, right? Hod is already on the left bottom, right? On the bottom side on the left. If I go back for a second, you see the Netzach is on the right side, starting growing from here. So that's intentional, right? I wanted to show that like the Netzach is really on that right principle, the expanding principle, the moving forward principle. And Hod is that left principle. It's a flower that is closed. You can almost go inside that flower into that cave and just kind of like rest for a moment and acknowledge what you have, and right, which is like reminding us a little bit of Tiferet, but like develop that kind of like quality and be grateful for it. Okay. So what I want us to do now is just in the 4 minutes we have left is to just ask everyone to take a moment to journal. What are places in my life that can benefit from Hod? What are places in my life that can benefit from Netzach? Okay, or Netzach and Hod, if you prefer to start from the right to the left. Or a third question, right? So either like, what's a place in my life that needs Netzach? What's a place in my life that needs Hod? Or what are places in my life where I need to be able to move between them, between these two legs? So let's take a minute or two to journal on this, and then we would love to see in the chat just like something that you're taking with you for this week, the week of Netzach and Hod. So let's take a minute or two and I'll call us back. Okay, let's take a few more seconds, and then when you're ready, we would love to hear in the chat your Netzach and Hod wisdom and your Netzach and Hod commitment for the week. And I'm just gonna quickly respond to Shoshana and Marnie. First of all, Shoshana, yes, you're describing exactly that movement, right? The Hod, humility, holding back, and Netzach, endurance, moving forward, right? This is the kind of movement, but each one of the Sfirot really is connected to such a rich world of associations. So yeah, humility can totally go with, right, with the ability to listen to someone, with the ability to make space rather than like move forward, as opposed to Netzach, which is like the kind of like moving forward. And I think also, and that may be also, Marty, a little in response to what you're saying, is it connected to boundaries that just, the Sfirot, right, there's some type of a development, right? We learned in Chesed also like this giving, and now Netzach is kind of like the next level of Chesed, right? It's the endurance, as Shoshana was mentioning. It's the perseverance. It's the kind of like not just love and boundaries that is like a little more abstract, but it's like it has tasks on it. And Hod, similarly to that, also is like is in another iteration of Gevura. So if Gevura was like these places where I need to say no, limits, Hod is not that kind of like striking like Gevura, but it's it's a different quality that we need maybe in different times, right? When we're like maybe closer to like acting. And hod is that place of saying, not now, 1 second. Um, I'm taking boundaries. I'm going back. I'm going in to listen to myself for a moment. So there's something a little softer about hod, a little more concrete. It's not the big nose, but it's like the small nose. That's at least in my experience and how I understand it. Um, hey, thank you so much um, for sharing these things. And um, it's beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to see like these reflections. And just know that every time you reflect, like so many times, I think it really mirrors like for other people, like what they feel too. So really, it's very generous when people put these into words. I think a lot of us feel that we live mostly in Netzach sometimes in some parts of our life, and we want to invite Hod more regularly, right? That place of like um, deep listening, that place of stopping. Some of us might feel like they're also too much in their own little cave, and they want to actually, breach out of it and like go into the world and do. So like really in different times in our life, in different times maybe in the year, um, just to remember these two places. Hod, again, as I mentioned, um, is the place of pause in that regard that like to hear an echo, I have to stop for a moment. If I keep talking, the echo won't work, right? So Hod is also head. What is my ability to resonate with things, to feel? Do I resonate with this? Do I hear this correctly? It's the place that I can stop and pull back for just a sec, sometimes a little longer. Say, does it resonate with me? And also to say, I'm so grateful, even in the middle of the way. And also to say, I'm able to receive. I'm able to accept. Acceptance is the beginning of any action in Kabbalah. Kabbalah is such a beautiful word. Kabbalah means to receive, right? So all this energy in a way, right? We can only receive it. All these tools that we have with the Sfirot is to receive the energy and manage it. But whatever we're creating with God's energy. So I love how people bring it back to the world, right? We want to take this language and bring it into our life, into grounding ourselves. Um, so thank you so much for everything that was written here and take a moment to still read through. And we're going to take now 10 minutes to open. We're going to unspot me and have time to just chat and hear questions and reflections.